one man is rewriting the rules and taking it to another level.
And the next level, and the next level.
The seventh level.
You just feel how natural it is. You feel how open you become to your prospects, and in response, they usually become more open to you.
Founded by Jeremy Miner, Seventh Level is the only friction-free sales system guaranteed to raise revenue.
In my life, it's been revolutionary.
And his followers are feeling the difference.
His training has transformed everything.
It is precise, and it really draws out emotions.
People around the world are starting to catch on.
We're going to tie in the new model of selling to your product or service that you sell.
These tools can work for anyone in any industry at any time.
And it's time to get on board before the ship sets sail. It's Seventh Level with Jeremy Miner.
All right, Jeremy Miner. All right, so we are live. Let's go live here. We're going live on a bunch of different platforms. We're going to go live here on the TikTok phone, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, just there you go. Switch that around. Okay, so we're live here. This is our normal Tuesday live. All right. Now, today, here's what we're going to cover. We're going to spend the next 25 to 30 minutes because a lot of you have been asking, like, Jeremy, how do you sell? What are some techniques I can use if I sell retail? Like if you have somebody that walks into your place of business, you could be a real estate agent and somebody's walking into an open house. You could be a car salesperson. Somebody's walking into your dealership. You could be selling cell phones. Somebody walks in. You could be selling furniture. Somebody walks in. Okay. You could be selling mattresses. Somebody walks in. What do you do? So what I'm going to show you today, and even if you don't sell retail, what I'm going to show you can help you sell more of your products and services, especially a few objection prevention techniques that I'm actually going to walk through today. Now, we are going live here on 7 different platforms. So we're going live here on the TikTok phone. Welcome, TikTokers. We love you. We're going live here on the Instagram phone. Welcome, Instagram. 656,000 followers on that, bud boy. That thing's growing fast. We're also going live here on StreamYard on my desktop. So we're going live in our Facebook group, Sales Revolution. 114,000 of you in there. We're going live in the Facebook business or the Facebook business page. I want to say around 170,000 of you on that. LinkedIn, YouTube, that thing's growing like crazy. We're going about 20,000, some 25,000 subs a month. That thing's growing fast. And we're going live on my personal Facebook. Now, here's what we're going to do. Well, I'm going to have you do a few things first because I want more people to be able to see this live because a lot of people have been asking me this question. So I want you to go down to the bottom of your phones. I know you're on your phones right now. Go down to the bottom of your phone. And I want you to, if you're on the live, post hashtag live. So I better see hundreds. There's 250 of you on IG. There's quite a few of you here, not a ton on TikTok. Where's you guys at? And we've got hundreds over here between YouTube, the Facebook group, and the Facebook business page and LinkedIn. So I want you to go down to the bottom of your phone and I want you to post hashtag live. So if you're on the live, post hashtag live. And if you're on the replay, post hashtag replay. I better see hundreds of hashtag lives. All right, so hundreds of smash out. Now, some of you are asking me, can you do a live next about B2B SaaS sales or this? I'll do my best. But if you want to learn how to sell that industry, you probably want to get into our client training portals because we train all that. On the lives, we don't. Okay, we can't. I mean, we train 161 industries, including yours. So if you want to get trained, message me directly. We have sales training programs that train all of that times 10,000. One live about your industry, I hate to tell you, is not going to double your sales. Okay, we love you guys. All right. Some of you are asking me, why did my IG account go down a week ago for a day and a half? Well, I don't know. Ask Instagram. We got a warning that said that I was impersonating a celebrity. And guess whose that celebrity's name was? Jeremy Miner. I'm like, well, of course I'm impersonating myself. I am myself. I'm real. So we had to send in the photos, the passport, the driver's license. I had to prove it was me. And they let me have my account back after 36 hours. That was quite interesting. All right. Now, here's what I'm also going to have you do. I want you to go smash the heart button. So each of you real quick, wherever device you're on, if you're on the phone, go smash the heart button and smash the like button. I want to see hundreds of smashed hearts and hundreds of smashed likes if I'm going to train you here. Now, if you are brand new, if you just started following me, 7th level, I'm Jeremy Miner, I'm the founder. We are a sales training organization that trains people like you. So we train sales professionals like you. We train sales executives like you. We train coaches like you, consultants like you. We train business owners, entrepreneurs like you. We train all the way from, we have 2 Fortune 100 clients, all the way down to Fortune 500 clients, all the way down to SMB, all the way down to individual salespeople selling anything at this point. And we train you how to use techniques that work with human behavior rather than work against it. Do you know what I mean by that? Are you 100% sure the questions you're using now are the right ones? Are you 100% sure you know how to use your tonality for different questions to get your prospects to let their guard down and emotionally open up to you? That's what we're going to show you. Okay. Now, if you're a client, you already know this times 10 billion other things. If you're just watching me on Reels, unfortunately, you're getting 0.00001% of what our clients do. That's why they are crushing a lot of you. We love you, but you might want to learn how to sell more for sure, even if you're already doing well. Okay. All right. Now, that's called NEPQ. Stands for Neuro Emotional Persuasion Questions. Now, I had to teach you the right tonality as well. It's not the questions or just the words. It's how you're asking the questions. I always say your tonality is how your prospect interprets the intention behind everything you say and every question you ask. NEPQ stands for Neuro Emotional Persuasion Questions. Comes from my behavioral science background in university and me into action in the world of sales in the trenches like you. I made a few dollars. You might want to Google my name. Okay, now let's go over here to the vibe board. So what I'm going to do for Instagram, I'm going to put you guys over here so you can see the vibe board a little bit better. All right, IG there, and we're over here on YouTube, LinkedIn, and the Facebook group and Facebook business page. All right, I'm going to show you a few things. You might want to pay attention to this one. Could be important to you. Could be a game changer, whether you sell retail or not. Show a few things. Okay, now, one of the biggest objections you probably get if you sell anything retail, and like I said, you could be selling at a car dealership, you could be selling at a furniture store, you could be selling mattresses, cell phones. I mean, it could be anything. You could be a chiropractor, people walk in the door. You could be, you could be selling jets. I mean, you could literally be anything where somebody walks into, you could be a real estate agent and they walk into an open house. What is the biggest objection you get in retail within the first 5 to 10 seconds? If you say, hey, welcome into the store, how can I help you? What's the biggest objection you get? Oh, I'm just looking. Would you agree? That's the biggest objection you get. Now, if you're not in retail sales, when you walk into a store and the salesperson says, hey, welcome to the store today, how can I help you? You typically say what? You say the same thing. You say, oh, I'm just looking. Even though you might really be interested in something, it's a defensive mechanism in your mind that when a salesperson asks that question, when you walk in, you will say, oh, just looking. Okay. Unless you're like desperate to buy something, like I've got a hole in my jeans and I'm about to go on a date. I've got to get a new pair of jeans, like you're fanatic. So how do you prevent that objection from happening in the prospect's mind? So the first thing I'm going to show you is what's called objection prevention. Now, a lot of you have been trained that, oh man, I got it. If I can really get good at rebuttals and overcoming objections, I'm going to make 10 times more money. Now, some of that is true, probably not 10 times more. But if you want to be a top 1% salesperson in your industry, I mean, where you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, if not more, okay, you're going to need to learn how to prevent most objections from happening in your prospect's mind. It's a different level. If you're already making 150 or 200,000 a year and you want to double or triple that, you're going to have to learn objection prevention sooner or later, because you are losing sales that you should be making. That our clients who sell exactly what you do, same industry, they're making those sales, okay? Because they know how to prevent the objections from happening in the prospect's mind. Do objections just happen because of the prospect, or because the salesperson is triggering that objection by what they're saying and how they're using their tone? It's caused by us, the salesperson, not the prospect. Did the prospect plan before they walked into the let's say the furniture store that day, because they're looking at new couches? Did they plan before they come in? Hey, when that salesperson says, welcome into the store today, can I help you? Let's say, I'm just looking. Did they plan that whole response out? No, it's a triggered reaction based off of what you said to them and how you said it, your tonality. So if I understand that I'm triggering that, I need to learn how to prevent that from happening in their mind. Now type in me in the comments if you want me to show you how. Type in me. I don't have to show you how. It's like 66 to 66, 67 degrees today in Scottsdale. You know, could go outside, walk around, get a little coffee, you know, hang out, have some fun. Maybe could watch TV or a reality show, you know, just do something else, you know. You guys want to learn that? Okay, you want to learn that? All right. Might be important for if you want to sell more, for sure. All right. So when the prospect comes in, I want to prevent that. I want to prevent that reaction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feedback. I'm actually going to tell them the objection. I'm going to show you how. Well, you're like, crazy, Jeremy. What do you mean by that? Let me show you. It's really simple. Let me see if I can show this to you guys better here. Okay. So when the prospect comes in, here's what I want to do. If I'm selling retail, okay? Everybody pay attention to what I'm doing. Hopefully you can see me on the phone there. Hey, welcome into the store today. Are you guys just kind of out looking around today? See, I'm going to tell them that. Now, hey, welcome into the dealership today. Are you guys just kind of out looking around today? You know what they're going to say? Yeah. They're going to be like, yeah, okay. And do you know what you're possibly looking for? Okay. See, I'm going to repeat this objection. Anything retail. If somebody walks into an open house and I'm a real estate agent, hey, welcome into the open house. Are you guys just kind of out looking around today? Yeah, for sure. Okay. And do you know what you're possibly looking for? Okay. Now, this is an example of what's called an NEPQ connection question. Okay. Now, why would I use the word possibly looking for rather than say, and do you know what you're looking for? Well, we're just kind of looking around. Okay. When I neutralize it, I can neutralize that by using the word possibly and staying more neutral in the beginning rather than being assumptive. Sometimes when you're too assumptive too early in a sales conversation before you've built any trust or built any gap, you're going to get prospects that push back and say, well, we're just kind of looking, we're not ready to buy. But if I say possibly looking for, that's safer for them. Okay. Now, do I know I can help them? Yes. Do they know they can help me in the first 20 seconds of a conversation? No. I have zero trust and credibility. So when I start building that gap in that conversation from where they are and help them see where they could be, that's when I make the sale. But I first got to get them to let their guard down for them to even be open or emotionally open up. Okay. Hey, welcome into the store today. Are you guys just kind of out looking around? Yeah. Oh, okay. And do you know what you're possibly looking for? Well, I'm not really sure. Well, for example, are you guys maybe looking for, and I might repeat back some options depending on what you sell. Now, this is generic, of course. I'm going to tweak this a little bit if I sold mattresses, compared if I sold furniture, compared if I sold cell phones, compared if I was a real estate agent open house, compared if I sold at a car dealership or an RV park or maybe a boat marina. I have to tweak that a little bit. Okay. Now, let's keep going. Now, what type of tone did I just use there? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you some different retail techniques and how to use NEPQ in retail, but I want you to pay attention to my tonality. This is called tailored tonality. Your tone is how the prospect interprets the intention behind every question you ask. Okay? Let me give an example. Type in me if you have teenagers. Type in me if you have any teenagers from the ages of, let's say, I think teenagers are like at 8 years old now. Type in if you have teenagers from 10 years old to, let's say, 22 years old, and they're living at home. Type in me if that's you in the comments. Okay, a lot of you, right? Now, let's say if I'm upset at my son. So my son's name is Jackson. He's 17. And let's say Jackson did something crazy. Let's say he got a huge speeding ticket. He was going 20 miles over the speed limit. Okay, now my insurance is going to jump up. Let's say I come out and I'm like, what are you doing? I can't believe you would speed like that. With that tone and my arms out here, what am I going to trigger him to do? He's going to get what? More than likely defensive. Well, Dad, I mean, you didn't understand. He's going to get defensive. Why did you do that? I can't believe you do something like that. See, my tone and my body language is communicating what? That I'm angry. And so most of the time, the teenager is going to do what? Defend themselves and get defensive. Now, what if I shifted my tone into more of a concern tone? I want you to pay attention to what I do here. What were you doing going that fast, son? Son, why were you going that fast on the highway? Now, what am I communicating to him now? That I'm disappointed, but I'm also concerned and I love him. And that does what? Disarms him. Do you see what we're doing here? Okay. Your tone can trigger two different reactions, and you don't even know that. You see why your tonality is actually one of the most important selling skills that you can have? Okay. I'm in commercial real estate. Any tips? You probably want to get into our training if you want to learn how to sell more commercial real estate. Tips will not make you more income in any type of sales position. Understanding the entire sales process and getting your prospects to overcome their own concerns and preventing objections will. Tips are just tips. They're in one ear out the other. You got to know everything if you want to learn how to sell more real estate. Jump into our training programs. Message me directly. Your industry, second largest industry training in the world. Okay, now there's a confused tone. I'm going to show you that. There's a curious tone. There's a challenging tone. There's a concerned tone. And there's a playful tone. Okay, and I'm going to show you the different tones in these responses. Okay, all right. Now let me show you an example. You could use this for anything, but let's say you're in retail. Okay, and let's say the prospect. Let's say you sell mattresses. All right, you're showing them all these awesome mattresses and gel pillows, which I love my mattress and my gel pillows and all that stuff. And they're just like, we just need some time it's really a big decision for us. Now, do I really know what they mean by this is a big decision or I need to think it over? Is think it over a real objection? Does the prospect go back and think it over for weeks on end? No, they're just saying you that. That's a smoke screen. They have some type of concern and they're just not willing to tell you that. So they say, I want to think it over. When you say to a salesperson, you want to think it over, do you go back for weeks on end thinking it over? You don't. You just maybe thought you didn't like it, or maybe it wouldn't work the way they said it would, or maybe you don't feel like you have the money for it. So you tell them you want to think it over. You see the difference there. Now, let's say if they say it's a big decision, I can say in a confused tone, big decision, or think it over. Think it over, or big decision. Let's say if it's an emotional word. Now, what does that do? Big decision. See, when I use a confused tone, what that communicates to that prospect's brain is this. This is what their brain says to them instantly. Oh, he didn't understand what I meant by big decision. I need to expand on what I meant by that. Well, when I mean big decision, like it's just a lot of money and my husband just lost his job and I'm not sure I can afford it. Oh, it's not really a big decision. She just has a money concern now. And now I'm there to help her overcome the money concern. You see how I did that? I could only do that by using a confused tone. Big decision. When you use a confused tone in this context, or let's say the prospect says, oh my gosh, like there's so much pressure at work because of XYZ not getting done. Pressure? Oh, geez, the pressure's enormous. Like, in fact, last week, and they will expand. Try it on somebody you know. Anytime they give you an emotional word, pressure, stressed, frustrated, annoyed, concerned, worried, repeat back in a confused tone that emotion word. Now, don't say, worried? Well, how do you mean by worried? That's a curious tone. That's not going to do anything. Worried? Concerned? Stressed? Okay? And watch how they expand. Just try it on somebody. Don't even try it on a sales call. Try it on somebody you know and see what happens. See what happens. Okay? Do you ever lose the confidence of the prospect, though, with the confused tone? Why would you? I don't understand. Why would you lose confidence if they said, I'm feeling a lot of pressure? Pressure? Why would I lose confidence in the prospect? Why would the prospect lose confidence if I didn't understand? I needed further clarification. You might want to learn how the brain works. Human behavior, you want to understand how this works. Otherwise, you're just losing a ton of sales. What would cause a prospect in any situation to lose confidence in you? Now, I'm not saying you're like, oh, I'm confused. I don't know how the product works. Well, of course, that's going to be weird. You wouldn't use a confused tone when going through your product or service. It wouldn't make any sense. It wouldn't make any sense at all. Customer for not doing your research about their situation. We're not talking about that on TikTok. If they say, I'm feeling a lot of pressure, what do you mean? Did you know that they were feeling pressure? How would you research that they feel pressure? How would you know they felt pressure before you talk to them? So you're not understanding the context. You don't use a confused tone with everything you ask. When they use emotional words, oh, I'm just so concerned about XYZ problem. Concerned? How do you mean by concerned? That's when you use a confused tone, not when you're explaining a product. You don't going to act confused. Come on now. You should know that. Good Lord. All right. We love you. I'm just giving you a hard time. All right. Let's keep moving on. All right. Now, where am I going to use a confused tone or a curious tone? Okay. Let's say if I'm selling retail and I'm in a car dealership. Okay. Now, I want to start asking what are called situation questions. These are NEPQ situation questions. I have to help the prospect understand what their real situation is. Hopefully that helps you on TikTok. Sir, I don't know what your name was. Okay. All right. I'm always cheeky. I'm always sarcastic. If I'm ever sarcastic to you, I still love you. It's just my weird behavior. I'm just a very sarcastic person. I love being playful, right? Now, if I'm selling cars, oh, and what type of car do you drive now? Oh, what type of car do you drive now? See, it's just one of my first situation questions. Now, I'm asking that in a curious tone. Remember, your tone is how the prospect interprets the intention behind every question you ask. So if I'm asking situation questions, I'm typically going to use a curious tone because I'm finding out what their real situation is. Are you with me on that? Okay. Can you recommend books about tonality and sales in general? There are 0 books on tonality. 0. How can you learn tonality by reading words? How can you learn about tonality by reading words? You can't. It's something that has to be trained by someone who's an expert in it. That's part of our virtual training course for clients. A lot of you ask me, how do I do this, Jeremy? How do I do that? Well, that's why salespeople and companies come to us and get into our sales training programs for clients so they learn those skills. They don't come to us to learn how to sell less. They come to us because they want to sell more. So if you want to sell more, because our clients in your industry you probably want to message us here on the platform and we can go over different training programs we have if you want to sell more. We don't have one training course with one price. We have 36 different versions. Depending on your skill level now is which ones we'll recommend you getting into. You have to graduate through our programs and get certified then. It's like an education. Okay. All right. Now Let's say if I'm selling furniture, one of my first situation questions. Can you guys maybe walk me through like the layout of your living room so I understand kind of what that looks like? And what's the layout of your living room so I have a better understanding? Now, if I'm selling furniture, that would be one of my first situation questions so I understand what the layout of the living room is if they're looking at maybe some new couches or some new chairs for a living room. I want to understand the layout and what they currently have. Do you have video education on tonality, Diane? Yes. Yes. 100%. I don't know if you just missed me saying that to you. So we have sales training courses for all this for our clients, industry specific. Okay. So yes, your tonality is the most important part of the sales process. Of course, we're going to train you on advanced tonality. Where did I learn tonality? Not by any sales trainer, because nobody knows it. My background's behavioral science and human psychology. I had to go hire big time acting instructors in Hollywood who taught me advanced tonality, who taught me facial expressions and how to trigger different emotions, changing your facial expressions. Your facial expressions, your face is the remote control to how your tone comes across. So if you want to learn that to sell more, yeah, message us directly, 100%, Diane. Okay, let's keep going here. Some of you are making fun of me. Okay, now, what about a challenging tone? How do I use a challenging tone? Now, I can't ask, does your hair have Wi-Fi? Yes, it does. You guys, you're funny over there on IG. Now, I can't use a challenging tone in the first couple of minutes with a prospect because I don't have enough trust or credibility yet. But let's say if I'm halfway in that first conversation or I'm 3/4 of the way in, I'm going to ask what are called NEPQ consequence questions. Now, let's say in this example, this prospect has a car that keeps breaking down on the way to work. It's happened twice this month. They were 4 hours late each time to their job, and now they're worried their boss might fire them because they're just not reliable. It's not that they're not reliable, just the car's not reliable. Okay. So I'm saying, well, what happens if you keep the car and it keeps breaking down on your way to work? I mean, what's your boss going to do at that point? Now I'm going to start with a challenging tone. Okay. And I'm going to end it with a concern tone. There are some questions you have to learn how to use two different tones in them to elicit a different emotional response. So if at the end of my solution awareness questions, NEPQ solution awareness questions, I've got them to see and feel what their future looks like once the newfound problems are solved. Okay. I want to then rip that away from them with a consequence question that gets them to defend themselves on why they feel they have to change. And if I can get them to tell me and themselves why they feel like they have to change, what does that do? Builds massive urgency for them to want to change. And that means purchase what you're offering now, not keep pushing it down the road. Or if you're in B2B sales, instead of a 9-month sales cycle, we can train you how to get that down to 3 or 4 months. My second career, out of the 4 industries I sold, 2 were business to consumer, 2 were business to business. When I got into enterprise level sales, so I went from B2C, like door to door is my first job in college, to then high level B2B sales, talking to mainly Fortune 1000 companies, some Fortune 500, mainly Fortune 1000, and a little bit higher. Okay, top 5,000 companies in the United States, some in the world. Now, I had to learn how to use my tone here to elicit different emotional responses, even when I was talking to high-level CEOs. Now, some of you are in B2B are like, Jeremy, that doesn't work. CEOs, they're all about facts and logic and all about stats. I can't ask them any questions. Well, the question you might want to ask me is, Jeremy, I haven't learned yet how to use my tonality to get my prospects to let their guard down and actually want to open up to me. Can you teach me how? Because as a CEO of a Fortune 500 company human, that means they have emotions. You just haven't learned yet to get them comfortable where they feel they can open up to you. But I remember my first B2B job in enterprise sales. I was selling high-end debt relief services to these huge companies. The average sales cycle was 9 to 12 months. They're like, there's no way. Our best performer has a 9-month sales cycle. Most have 12 months. I'm like, Well, that means they don't know how to get the prospect to emotionally open up to build urgency to want to change. Guess what my sales cycle was? About 2 to 2.5 months on average. Because I knew how to build urgency. They would cram it through legal. Didn't matter. Force it through legal. Now, there's other things you got to know if you sell B2B. You got to learn how to navigate throughout an enterprise, an organization. You got to learn not only who the decision makers are, but who the influencers that can influence those decision makers. There's a lot more you got to learn too. If you want to learn that, we can train you if that's what you want. Okay. You'll have to get into our virtual training courses and client training. We don't really teach much of that in free reels or lives. Okay. It's all in our client training. You want to learn those skills to sell more, message me directly. All right. Now, well, what happens if you keep this car? I mean, what happens if you keep this car? It keeps breaking down on your way to work. I mean, how many months is your boss going to give you? And I lower down to my concern tone. Okay, challenging tone. I elicit that response. I raise their emotion, and I lower it down because that's how they're interpreting why I'm asking the question in that concern tone. Okay. All right, let's keep going. I got a few more things here. We're going to wrap it up. All right. Now, let's say that I'm selling furniture, and let's say Bob comes to me and he's like, man, my back hurts. You know, I'm a general contractor. I work 12 to 14 hours a day, labor intensive. I need something to massage my back. But then at the end, they're like, I want to think it over. Well, usually that's a downstream issue. You didn't learn you don't know how to build a gap yet. You don't know how to trigger the urgency in the sale. You just haven't learned that yet. But I can lean in and I say, blah, blah, blah. What's really holding you back from moving forward so you can get the stress out of your back? John, what's really holding you back from moving forward so you can relax at night and get the stress off your shoulders? Now, why did I use a concerned tone? Because my tone is how the prospect interprets the intention behind the question I'm asking. Now, Fred or whoever it is, or Cindy, knows that I'm concerned about the consequences of what happens if they don't do anything about solving the problems they said they have. What's really holding you back from moving forward so you can get the stress off your back? Okay, concern tone. See what I'm doing there, okay? All right, let's keep going here. All right, now, let me show you a few other examples here. Now, these are what's called NEPQ problem awareness questions. This is a technique called precision probing, NEPQ problem awareness questions, okay? Now, let's say I'm selling furniture again, and I ask them what type of sofa they have in the living room already, if that's what they're looking at. Now, look at what I'm doing. I mean, the sofa you have now, I mean, that's a fairly decent piece. I mean, what's caused you to feel like that's not comfortable enough? Well, the reason why it's not comfortable enough is, see how I'm pushing them away, and they're what? Pulling me back in by telling me why they feel it's not what they're wanting. Now, why would I say that's a fairly decent piece? I mean, that's a fairly decent piece. I mean, what's caused you to feel like you might want something different? Okay. Why wouldn't I say that's a great piece of furniture? Or why wouldn't I say that's a horrible couch? Because I don't want to compliment it too much, but if I'm too negative, they might get defensive. Well, I mean, it's pretty good. It's worked up until now. Okay. So look what I'm doing. I mean, the sofa you have now, I mean, that's a fairly decent, piece. I mean, what's caused you to feel like you might want something different? Now, what did my tone communicate when I said that's fairly decent? What did it just see? That's a fairly decent piece. What did my tonality and facial expression communicate when I said that? What am I seeding? I'm seeding doubt by my tone. I mean, that's a fairly decent piece. See how my facial expression, my tone communicates that I might know something about that piece that might not be so good. Okay. See how my tone communicates that. Okay. Now, same thing. Let's say if you're selling cars. Okay. I mean, you've had this Toyota the last 5 years. I mean, it's a fairly decent car. I mean, what's caused you to feel like you might want something better? Well, I mean, it's a good car, but the reason why I want something better is because of this and because of that. See how I'm getting the prospect to not just tell me why they want to change, but more importantly, who am I getting the prospect to tell that to? Themselves. why they feel like they have to change. You see what we're doing here. Okay, you with me on that? All right, now, in the comments section, I might have one more thing for you if I can move this back. In the comments section, type in, if you started to learn just a smidget of what we train our clients, if you started learning advanced tonality, if you started learning precision probing, if you started learning how to get your prospects to let their guard down, if you started learning how to prevent probably 70% plus the objections you get now, how to prevent them from even happening in the prospect's mind. In the chats, if you acquired those skills, type in how much more money you feel you would make every month in commissions. Or maybe you get promoted and get a higher base if you're on a base. So type in the chat, if you acquired a much more advanced sales ability than what you currently have been trained, type in the chat how much more commissions or money you would get paid from the company you work for. In the chats, type in how much more money you feel like you would be able to make on a monthly basis if you acquired those skill sets. Now, some of you, 50 grand more a month. Wow, that's a lot. 5,000 easily. Yeah, Brandon, pretty easily. D-Roy, 100 grand. This person, Facebook user, I don't know who you are, 5 grand more a month. Let's see, I'm making 30, I'd make 30% more, 15 grand, 5 more grand a month. Okay, what else? SDR to AI in 8 months. If you learn the right skills you want. If you don't learn the right skills, probably not realistic. Here's what I always say. Selling is the highest paid profession in the world if you acquire the right skills. It can also be on the flip side, the lowest paying, hardest job in the world if you do not acquire the right skills. 100%. Okay. I get residuals, maybe an extra 10 grand a month, 30 grand a month, 10 grand a month, 5 grand a month, 8 grand a month, 25 grand a month, 1 million a month. That's crazy. You must own the business then. 20 grand a month, 12 grand a month, 5 grand a month, 20 grand a month, 50 grand a month. Okay. 12 grand a month. Now, the question is, how are you going to do that? If you keep selling the same way you are now. So for those of you who feel that you still have more to learn in the world of sales, because in the chats, type in, how many years did you go to sales school? How many years? How many years did you go to sales school to learn advanced sales and persuasion ability? How many years? 0. Selling is the only profession I have ever heard that says, hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm in sales. But they never were educated on sales. Can an engineer say, I'm an engineer, but they didn't go to engineering school to learn how to build a bridge? Can a neurosurgeon say, I'm a neurosurgeon, but they never went to medical school to learn how to operate on brains? No. So why do you feel like you're going to sell a ton and you haven't been trained how to work with human behavior, how to prevent objections from happening in a prospect's mind, how to use your tonality to get your prospects to let their guard down, how to use precision probing to get your prospects to want to emotionally open up and tell you what the real problems are? For you who want to acquire those skills, what's your next step? We make it easy. Message me directly right now. So for you who want to sell more of your products and services so you can what? Make more money. Or if you're the business owner and you're like, you know what, I want to scale the business more, or we're already doing well, but man, we can really improve on our tonality. We can really improve on getting the prospects to let their guard down, which would make us even more sales. If that's you, message me directly right now. So if you're on Instagram or TikTok, message me directly right now. If you're on YouTube, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on the Facebook business page, if you're on my Facebook or the Facebook Sales Revolution here on my desktop, message me directly right now. Okay. Now, if you can't figure out how to message me because you're like me, you don't understand social media that much, in the comments, post hashtag NEPQ, post hashtag NEPQ, and either myself or someone on our team will message you back details. Now, when we message you back, will you do yourself a favor and open up and actually tell us what's really going on? Or are you going to be closed and think you know everything about sales and not open up, and then we don't know how we can help you? It has no impact on us if you don't acquire those skills. Our clients in your industry already have them, and they're being trained them. It has no impact on us if you don't acquire them, right? We're a sales training company. You're a salesperson who comes typically to us to help you sell more. So we are on the same team at the end of the day. So if you don't acquire the skills, message me directly. Now, there'll probably be at least a couple hundred of you, because between IG, the Facebook groups, the YouTube channel, LinkedIn, Facebook business page, and TikTok, there's like 1,200 of you on in all those platforms, about 1,300 of you. There'll probably be at least 250 of you that message me. I won't be able to respond to all 250. I will respond to a few of them. I'll have probably about 6 or 7 other people in my social media team respond to you. They could respond underneath my account as well if I don't have this time. And they'll ask you a few questions to find out kind of what you feel like you're saying, or maybe asking or not asking, or how you're using your tone that's causing so many of your prospects not to buy, that have problems that you could solve. And once we kind of find out what your skill level is, okay, it's usually based on how much you're making. You know, like John Madden says, you are what your record says you are in the NFL. Well, in sales, you are what your commission checks or base salary plus commission checks says you are. Nothing more, nothing less. That tells us your sales ability. And once we find that out, we'll let you even book with one of our account managers that will go through all the different training programs, and they'll recommend which training course for you to go through that's going to give you the highest return in the shortest amount of time based on your current sales ability. Okay, if you're only making $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 a month, we can't put you in our advanced inner circle program. It'd be too advanced for you. You'd be over your head. Okay, we're going to put you in more NEPQ foundations and let you get certified and graduate that program where you're getting results. Maybe you're getting 20, 30% more sales or more, and then you can graduate into more advanced programs that you're going to understand. And if you're already making 10 or 15 or 20 grand a month, you can get into more of our advanced programs, and we can help you make even more than that if that's what you want. Now, if you're a business owner looking for us to come in and train your sales teams, just let us know that, because you'll be speaking to different account managers that are over our corporate accounts, anywhere from Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies down to SMB, down to some companies that have 2 salespeople. Okay. All right. We love you guys. We'll be going live tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern in the Facebook group only. So if you're on IG or TikTok or YouTube or LinkedIn, and if you want to be in the Wednesday lives, you'll need to make sure you join our free Facebook group, salesrevolution.pro. I'm going to have someone in our team post that in there, salesrevolution.pro. And we only go live on Wednesdays in the Facebook group, where we interview different clients from completely different industries every week, and we break down their sales process. We've trained them. These are clients that have to make a certain amount of income after we train them, okay? And then you can ask them any questions you have. It's kind of fun. So anyways, we love you guys. Stay out of trouble. We'll see you guys tomorrow in the Facebook group, salesrevolution.pro. Thanks, everybody. TikTok, we'll see you guys. All right, YouTube, we'll see you guys tomorrow. LinkedIn, Facebook group, Facebook business page. I am